Okay, so today we're going to talk about, well, first of all, any questions on yesterday? We talked about reflections and translations of figures. Tomorrow we're going to have a quiz just on that stuff that we talked about yesterday. Okay, so tomorrow's quiz will be just like yesterday's homework. So there won't be a recorded or live lesson or anything like that you have to log into. You just have to take your quiz sometime before 8 p.m. Okay? All right, so today we're going to talk about rotations of figures. So just like with rotations of points, you need to just graph the situation in order to get the image. Okay? So like, for example, let's suppose we have a triangle to start with. Let's say its vertices are A is at 3, 0, B is at 6, 0, and C is at 6, 7. We have this right triangle in the first quadrant. And let's suppose they wanted you to do a rotation of 270 degrees around the origin and find the coordinates of A prime, B prime, and C prime. So all you need to do is just physically rotate your paper 270 degrees counterclockwise, right? Because if they don't specify, then it's implied that they mean counterclockwise. Although in Delta Math, they often ask you to rotate it clockwise, but they'll say that. But just pay attention because sometimes it's clockwise, sometimes it's counterclockwise. So on the smartboard here, I have to actually group these things together so I can rotate them. Okay. So 270 degrees is like 3/4 of a turn, right? So if I do a quarter turn, that's 90 degrees counterclockwise. And then another 90 degrees would be 180. And then a third 90-degree chunk would be 270. That's 270. So then remember, what you do is you just sort of pretend like now this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Things are just as they seem. Like up is positive, down is negative, just like normal. And then list the coordinates. So A ends up being at 0, -3. That's going to be the coordinates of A prime. 0, -3. B is going to be, B prime is going to be 0, -6. And C prime is going to be 7, -6. So if I move the graph paper back the way it was originally and plot these 3 points, I'll end up with a triangle that looks just like the original, except for it's rotated around. So A prime is at 0, -3. B prime is at 0, -6. And C prime is at 7, -6. Okay. So essentially what you've done is you've rotated about the origin. But if you think about it, like if I drew the line segment from the origin to A, and then from the origin to A prime, basically you've just rotated that point 270 degrees around to that point. This is 270-degree rotation. And that's true for all 3 points. Like if I were to connect the origin to the point C and the origin to the point C prime, like that's a 270-degree angle as well. Okay? So that's essentially what you're doing when you're doing a rotation, is you're taking each point and pretend like there's like a stick attaching it to the origin, and you're rotating around at that radius or whatever. Okay? So the way that Delta Math has you do this, it seems a little strange, but if you think about what I just showed you, it kind of makes sense. So let me just show you how this is going to work on Delta Math. Okay, actually, I'll just show you on Delta Math itself. I think that would be an easier way to do it. So if I go to this assignment, here's the assignment. So they're going to give you like a step-by-step process to follow. So it says, first, draw a circle centered at the center of rotation, which is the origin, such that one of the vertices of the figure is on the circle. So all you need to do is like start at this yellow dot and make a circle that goes through one of these 4 points, either that point or that point, or there's 5 actually. To that point or that point, right? So I'll have to go through this point. It really doesn't matter. You can go through any of the 5 points that you want. I'll have to go through that point. That's step 1, okay? Then it says, click and drag to draw a line through the yellow center and the vertex on the circle. So in other words, you click on the yellow point and you make a line that goes through that point that I just had it go through the circle on. Just like that. That's step 2. Step 3, now draw a line through the yellow center that's perpendicular to that line I just drew. Well, if you look at the slope of this line, its slope is down 5 over 4, right? So the slope is negative 5/4. So a perpendicular line would have to have a slope of positive 4/5, right? So I'd start here and I'd just go positive 4/5 would be right there. That's a perpendicular line, right? Then it says rotate the figure 180 degrees clockwise using the red dot. So using this red dot, I want to rotate 180 degrees. That's 2 quarter turns, right? So starting here, I'm going to go, that's 90 degrees clockwise. That's 180 degrees clockwise. Just like that. Then they just want you to, I mean, you can animate it if you want, so you can see like exactly what's happening. Okay. Then the last part of this is they would just want you to give the image of each of the points that you have. So like 2, -5, 2, -5 was here. It ends up being here, right? So its image is going to be -2, +5. So all you're going to do is just type in -2, +5. -2, +5. And you just do this for each of the points. Okay, so 4, -5 is right here. It ends up there, which is at -4, +5. So -4, +5. 5, -8 is down here at that point. So its image is way up here. -5, +8. -5, +8. I mean, you could maybe deduce a rule. I mean, if you look at exactly what's happening, we're just negating the x value and negating the y value each time. So if you can deduce that rule and just come up with the answers, that's fine. But you can just look at the picture. You don't need to come up with a rule. So 6, -4 is here. Its image is over here at -6, +4. -6, +4. And then the last point, 4, -1. is here, so its image is at -4, +1. And then you try them, and then you just submit it, and that's the answer. Now, they're not all going to be 5-sided pentagons. I mean, this was kind of a lot of work, but sometimes there'll be triangles or something like that. This is a quadrilateral, all right? But it's the same idea. You're just going to start at the yellow point, make a circle that goes through any point on the thing, draw a line, do a perpendicular line, oops. Do a perpendicular line, oh, that's not perpendicular. That, and then rotate it 270 degrees clockwise, which would be this way. That, and then you do the same thing, just give the coordinates of the vertices. Okay, the second part of the assignment is rotating around a point that's not the origin, but the process is exactly the same. Like if I was rotating around this point over here, I would do the same process. I'd make a circle that goes through one of these points and then rotate it around that. Okay, does that make sense? And then there's a third part of the assignment where they're giving you an image and a pre-image, and they're just saying, how can I get from here to here? And the choices are, it's either a reflection or a rotation choices that they're going to give you. It's multiple choice. Everybody understand that? All right, that's it for today then. Stop recording.